The world may be a classic fantasy, and the adventure may be a dungeon with a dragon at the end. But that doesn't mean you can't be floating 10 feet off the ground, coated in magical green armor, or have laser eyes, or even be a cyborg ninja. It all depends on how you flavor it, and how you mechanize it within the game's system. We've all wanted to do it, to play as a character we love so much from a show or comic we've watched or read our whole lives. But the only thing is the game doesn't account for those kinds of characters. Or when they do, it's not very good or doesn't feel right to you. Well, here's a video all about making those characters in D&D. It's time for a pop culture roundup. But first we have an announcement to make. We're launching a Patreon. Yes, now you too can be a part of our personal, private Discord server. Get early access to videos days or even weeks in advance. Get behind the scenes content relating to our games, including the campaign document that I sent to the players before we ever even started Acarius. You'll get access to a monthly homebrew pack consisting of content such as a race, a monster, magic items, subclasses, all of that every month, new. And for our final tier, you could even play in a once-a-month one-shot, dungeon mastered by me. So go down to the link in the description or type in patreon.com/dirty20s_DND right now to go join up, as there's a special bonus homebrew pack waiting for all of you, completely for free. No sign up necessary. Consider it a gift. First time's free. You'll come back for more. We sincerely appreciate the support, and so thank you everyone for watching this little side, and now back to the video. To start, we need to set boundaries on our character informed by the setting. These should be made pretty clear about what the DM says in advance. Whether it's a classic D&D or a sci-fi epic, you should be able to ground your character within the logic. That's about the only barrier to entry that there is. It's got to make at least some sense. For our previous unstreamed campaign, Solara, the Gateway Between Realms, Sophia played a Triton monk named Zariah, and she used a modified Way of the Elements subclass made by me to play as the Avatar. She started with waterbending and then learned more as she traveled, and in a more traditional D&D setting like Solara, high fantasy, realm hopping, the huge, not much had to be changed with the playstyle to make sense. We let others bend and bend multiple elements, and those popped up throughout the game, but she was still special in her abilities to master several, nay, all of the elements. She got to be the Avatar, but also to have a place in the world that wasn't too far aside from everyone and everything else, seeing as how we allowed them to meld. For the next example that we will be working with today, a character that I set up to play for Rime of the Frost Maiden was a Superman-inspired one, and it required a lot of work to fit. Firstly, from what my DM told me, and there's no spoilers here for a game that unfortunately never happened, and so I don't know a whole lot about it, was just the basics. It's Faerun, and it's cold. So I made a washed-up superhero, a descendant of a line of heroes who called themselves the Might of Neverwinter. My guy lost his powers due to a Cult of Oriel, the big battle campaign. When they attacked his city, they used her powers to take his, and he was planned to slowly get them back as we progressed, and as he grew more confident. It was a way of leveling him up from 1 to the end of the game. I plan to basically start as a fighter or barbarian, even though it was my own homebrew class, with like some light super strength, and then grow and grow until I was basically playing Superman by the time the campaign ended between levels 10 and 13. Then lastly, for the Green Lantern one, the last in the video title, in our sci-fi game that we stream over on our Twitch page, Dirty 20s D&D, Acarius, The Black Between the Stars, nothing had to be done. Lanterns are a sci-fi concept, so that slotted right in. And when Lewis, the player, approached me about playing a lantern using a class that I had already made because I wanted to, I was more than happy to work with him to fit his core into this galaxy. Now that we've done the who and the where, let's get on to the how. How do you design subclasses and classes and races and everything to do what your favorite characters do? And do fast so that you have more time to stretch your fantasy legs as your best vision for this character. Let's tackle the Avatar first, because it's almost in the rules already. In the player's handbook, there is a subclass for monks that's so close, but so far. Because while it's the right idea, Way of the Elements, it also sucks. And getting out ahead of this, I have been inspired by Mark Hume's redesign for this subclass, but I've modified it so heavily and I'm not selling it, so with accreditation, I'm not worried about our subclasses sounding similar. So starting with this as our framework, let's design a subclass that does this. That. And the other thing. And doesn't take forever to do so. First, a monk is our class, obviously. And we want to make it more like Avatar, so we learn bending styles in more or less their entirety at once, instead of piecemeal one move at a time. We start with one and then we get more and more as we level. I'm going to say 4 normally by the end of the game, but make more available so that our DM, me, or you, or whatever, could grant them as rewards. We can also have other abilities like blood bending and combustion bending to act as rewards and bonuses for bending styles that we already have. And lastly, we can include a final avatar stance, so there's one final push at the end of the game to truly be the ultimate bender. All of these ideas have been taken directly from the source material, the pop culture, and we've planned a rough framework to put here, here, and here, just exactly what we want. I'm not going to go into the exact design specifics. The real goal was to be able to bend more, and so I allowed unarmed attacks to bend elements with a range of 30 feet. I added cantrips and spells to each of the stances. I added these abilities. Some of them I borrowed, some of these I made myself. I included stuff like Fog Cloud and Icy Grease to be used in water stance, and just all of this stuff that's taking stuff from Avatar and from Legend of Korra and simply just putting it in D&D at level appropriate areas. The download for this subclass, now that we're done, can be found in the description of this video, like always, as will the next few things that we go over today. But basically, just as an initial note, when designing pop culture in D&D, simply just look to that pop culture, see what the things they can do, see what that closest equivalent would be in D&D, and then just slot it in. Make sure it's balanced, and you're good to go. If you think that something would show up too late, tone it down, have it progress in strength, and start them out with that ability earlier. Simple as that. Next, to play as a member of the Lantern Corps, and you'll see why I skipped soups later, I made the Spectrum Knight class. This was built from scratch to be a way to play a lantern, and so I fed into that hard. I started by deciding that to limit, but also free up the choices for constructs, as lanterns use their imagination to build them. I set up a point system so that every level the player could spend or save points to get more constructs or to upgrade their existing ones. A framework for free thought, which is weird, but it had to be done this way. Another way that you could have done it if you wanted to change it was simply to have a big pool that characters would have access to. Say at certain levels they get new unlocks, and each of those per day would cost points or slots or something to use. It's up to you. I just looked at the media and at what D&D can offer, and I found the best of both worlds. Floating swords, spiritual weapon, magical suit of armor, mage armor, or just some temporary hit points. Laser blasts, eldritch blast, flying, that one's obvious. For the different emotions, I just set them up as subclasses. Each is on par with each other, but has their own specialties, fear and emotion and stuff like that. And then at level 20, the capstone for this class makes you into a beacon of light and emotion for 10 minutes. So don't waste it. It's very similar to Paladin. New constructs can be made with ease, and if you don't like something, just feel free to change it. This is something that I made for my games, and yours are your games. And as such, you can feel free to make whatever you want your own. Okay, you've waited long enough. This next class isn't just a way to play Superman, or even strong characters like him. It's a way to play any superhero you want. The Crusader, a class built on freedom and choice. At most levels, you gain a new power, an upgraded power, or a special ability from the class or subclass. By level 10, you can be anything. Wonder Woman, Captain America, the Hulk, Batman, Flash. They're all possible with this framework and this class. And let's get into exactly how I did that. At level 1, you choose your origin, agility, might, or technology. You also choose your first ability. From this, you can basically become anyone. And if you say, but where's the spells? You want to play Doctor Strange? Play a freaking sorcerer or wizard. What am I? I'm not remaking the wheel here. They already exist. Some of these abilities are going to be limited by level, and some get stronger as you do. You can take a 1-level dip into this class, grab a power, and that power will still level up. Level 1 Crusader and 19 Barbarian will produce a Barbarian that's 4 times stronger than they normally will be, with unarmed strikes that deal 4d6 damage and count as magical. All you gotta do is grab Level 1 Crusader, go with that Might background, and take Super Strength. That's it. At higher levels in Crusader, you will get a fighting style, extra attack, advantage on initiative rolls, immunity to frightened and charmed effects, and the ability to resist death and to stand up to those who would see the world fall. This class is something that I am insanely proud of, and it's something that I've been wanting to show you for so long. I hope you can take it and use it in your own games, as I've always been wanting to do it in mine. All of these, you can see, have simply taken base existing things in D&D, a Goliath's ability to carry more, or, just simple rules that monsters can do, and immunities to conditions and such, and just made them accessible to the players in ways that make sense and with their choice to be pop culture characters that they want. Now, so we've gone over the how, the where, we've gone over the who, but now the why. Why would you want to play a pop culture character in this game, not just a standard fantasy hero? I think you can answer that question on your own, but if you can't, talk with your players. Ask them if they'd like a change of pace, and show them this video, because maybe they'd be interested in trying something new. And with that, we're done for today. We've gone our hard to adapt your favorite fiction characters into D&D ones, to take rules that exist already and rules that exist within pop culture with these characters, and mesh them together, and how to design for the most optimal and fun playstyle that you can imagine. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Be sure to go and check out the Patreon, as it will help us grow even more. But also like, comment, and subscribe here on YouTube. Go and follow our Twitch page, as well as our Twitter and Instagram. We are a rapidly growing group, and we would love your support. Thank you all for watching, everyone. Bye.